best way, I think, to rate a Ryanair landing will be to fill a cup of water here and hold it as steady as possible on touchdown. We've all heard the Ryanair rumours, like the hard landings, for example, so we decided to book 2 flights with them. The first one up to Edinburgh, which was £14.99, and then we also have a flight to Billund tomorrow on their 737 MAX, so stick around to find out what it's all about.
Here we are then at Bournemouth Airport. After quickly breezing through security and checking out the absolutely massive departure lounge, it was time to board our aircraft for today. Bournemouth is a very underdeveloped small airport located in the southwest of England. There's no space for jet bridges here, so you're required to walk out to the aircraft no matter which aircraft you're flying on. Here's our aircraft for today, Golf Romeo Uniform Kilo Golf, a 16.5-year-old Boeing 737-800, which was delivered to Ryanair back in March 2007. I've flown with Ryanair a few times, and my favourite part of the experience is having to board the aircraft via the extendable air stairs. The weather here is nice, so boarding this way isn't an issue, although it might be a terrible experience if it's freezing cold, wet and windy. Up we go then. Of course, we can't board the aircraft without tapping the fuselage. Although this is a 16.5-year-old aircraft, it's still equipped with somewhat of a modern cabin. Back in 2021, this aircraft was acquired by Ryanair UK and given a new registration. This new-ish cabin could have been a part of that transition, but who knows. My seat for this flight was 7F, which has okay window alignment and a nice view. There isn't an awful lot to show around the seat area. All you get is a small fixed tray table, a safety card in the back of the seat, and to be honest, an okay amount of leg room that might be a little bit generous. Due to the aircraft arriving late and London's airspace being a little busy, the flight was delayed by around 45 minutes. Let's fast forward to the push and start.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You are all very welcome on board to this Ryanair UK flight RK1132 going to Edinburgh. Flight time for today is 1 hour and 7 minutes. Captain in Command Stephen, First Officer Alexander, my name is Alejandra. Together with Julius, Georgina, Jude, Sylvia and we are going to take care of you today. Before departure, may we have your complete attention while we demonstrate the most important safety features of this aircraft.
There we go, the engines are up and running and it's time to make our way out to runway 26. Just like that, we're on our way to Scotland. After making a complete 180, we headed east, which gave us some nice views of Bournemouth as we passed through 9,000 feet. As we approached Southampton, we started to head north towards our destination. It was at this point the crew started handing out magazines featuring all of the items that you could purchase on this flight, from hot food, drinks, snacks, perfumes, and even the classic tiny model planes. On this flight, we passed over places like Reading, Milton Keynes, the Peak District, and the Lake District. Unfortunately, it was quite a hazy evening, so there wasn't too much to see out of the window.
So the flight's going pretty good so far. We're at 36,000 feet at the moment in a 737 Ryanair. It's okay, to be honest with you. It's not awful, but obviously up next is the loo review and then what might be a hard landing.
Whilst I waited for my turn to use the toilet, I thought I'd sit down in the front row. Quick 10-second review on these. The legroom is great, but the width of these seats are absolutely awful. Okay, toilet time. Latch in that door then, here's the tiny toilet. Obviously equipped with a sink and the toilet itself. Nothing too special, time to head back to my seat for landing. Now here's where things start to get interesting.
The best way, I think, to judge a Ryanair landing, because normally people just video them, will be to fill a cup of water and hold it as steady as possible on touchdown. This could end badly, but I think it's the ultimate way of actually putting a Ryanair landing to the test, so let's see.
I think it's safe to say that it was a firm landing. Anyway, 1 hour later, we're on the ground in Edinburgh. I'll be spending the night here to catch the next Ryanair flight tomorrow. Let's head to the hotel. Good morning from Edinburgh. It's time to catch our next flight to Billund. So let's whiz through the airport and make our way to the plane. To my disappointment, it's another regular 737. All the way up until this morning, the 737 MAX 8 was supposed to be flying us to Denmark today, but there was a last-minute aircraft swap. Let us know in the comments if you'd like us to make a video on board the 737 MAX. Anyway, here's Echo India Golf Sierra Hotel, a 5-year-old 737-800 which was delivered to Ryanair back in 2018. The cabin is very similar to the previous flight, though there are definitely some notable changes, like the shape of the windows, the overhead bins, the ceiling, and more. It definitely feels fresh compared to the flight last night. Although, it's definitely still dirty. The seats themselves are the same as the previous flight, so there's not too much to report here. Let's skip to the push and start.
May we have your complete attention as we demonstrate the safety features of this aircraft.
There we go, the engines have fired up, and it's time to taxi out to runway 24. We initially flew south before heading eastbound over the North Sea at 39,000 feet. I planned to review the food on this flight, however, the crew didn't offer any hot food at all. Instead, they only offered snacks like chocolates and crisps. Anyway, let's check out the toilet on this newer aircraft. As you can see, it's a lot cleaner and a lot nicer than the one on yesterday's flight. All in all though, nothing too fancy. It does the job, it's just a toilet. After cruising along for around 40 minutes, it was time to descend into Denmark. I decided not to hold a cup of water to rate the landing on this flight and instead just enjoy the views. So let's do exactly that. Why don't you rate the landing in the comments from 1 to 10? Welcome to Billund. If I had to give you my honest review of my Ryanair experience, then this is it. It's okay. To summarise it as simply as possible, you get what you pay for. The flight to Edinburgh cost only £15, and then the flight to Billund only cost £5 more. That's very cheap for the distance we've travelled, which honestly makes Ryanair worth considering from time to time. After all, it's Ryanair's goal to sell incredibly cheap flights, and they're doing a great job at that. Overall, I would say to expect a very minimal experience with them, and of course don't expect the same service that you'd receive from Virgin Atlantic or British Airways. Here we are then pulling up at the gate. One thing I spotted which I found quite funny was the Lufthansa crew getting their own luggage out of the hold of this CRJ. Anyway, thank you for coming along with us on our ride with Ryanair. We have another very interesting flight to catch now, so be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out on that video. It'll be published sometime in the coming weeks, so it might be worth turning on your notifications for this channel. Until then, why not try these routes in infinite flight? See you in the next one.